कथामृतं तप्तजीवनं कविभिरीरितं कल्मषापहम् श्रवणमङ्गलम् श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जना. So the Master's conversation with the devotees. The Master, as he was discussing about this Catholicity of all the religion, that all the paths can lead to the spiritual realization. On those lines he was talking, that if you asked me which form of God you should meditate upon, I should say, fix your attention on that form which appeals to you most, but know for certain that all forms are the forms of one God alone. And then he continues, never harbor malice towards anyone. Shiva, Kali and Hari are but different forms of that one. He is blessed indeed who has known all as one. So as we have indicated that Sri Ramakrishna in some other contexts have indicated a very nice thing. What he was saying, that all the forms of divinity are as if a hole in the wall of ego. That in the life of Sri Ramakrishna we find that he, because of his tremendous curiosity to realize the divine in various aspects, in the span of 12 years, he took spiritual endeavors, practices in so many different varied spiritual disciplines, and it was not just some mere faith or belief. The discipline took him to realization. And coming down from that realization, he is speaking these words, that all these various aspects of divinity, the Shiva, Kali and Hari, are the different forms of that one. As we were saying, that when we get engrossed in our spiritual contemplation, through our practice, when the mind has really got absorbed in our meditation, we have started liking it. Meditation has become spontaneous. Then, as we told, the more our mind is engrossed, the more the other distractions falls off. The last thing to fall off is our ego. That somehow that idea that even when the mind is free from all distractions, it is intensely focused on the form of divinity which you have or we have chosen as our Ishta, as our chosen deity. When our mind is fully focused on that concept of divinity, if I believe in form, on that form of divinity, then at last what happens? That the last thing to fall off is the ego. All the things falls off. The more the mind gets engrossed in the object of meditation, all things, distractions falls off, external distractions falls off first, then the bodily feelings falls off first, next. That's, you feel that as if though you are in the body or as if not in the body, because all the bodily feelings in the form of hunger, thirst, they start falling off. The last thing to fall off is the ego. And that has been indicated as the samadhi, the triputi bheda, that however intense my meditation may be, I have the three notions. What are the three notions? Dhyana, dhyata, dheya. The process of meditation, the one who is meditating, and the object of meditation. So this three remains. At last, when the ego falls off, this triad collapses. It is called Triputi Bheda. So when you go to that state, Triputi Bheda, the distinction of meditator, meditated, the object of meditation, the meditator, and the process of meditation. These three triads collapses. You become as if one with the object of meditation, because the ego has fallen off. And when you become one with the object of meditation, it takes you to that unitary experience, where everything becomes merged in the object of meditation, including you, including me, the meditator. And that gives that unity of experience, from where we realize that the entire creation has came from that one source, which is being projected as this world of name and form. So it happens with any spiritual practitioner who has gone to that realization. So what happens, as if Sri Ramakrishna is saying that all the forms of divinity, the concepts of divinity, are as if like chiseling in the wall of ego. The process of meditation is as if chiseling on the wall of ego. At last, we create a hole and then we peep through it. Suppose there is a wall, I don't know what's on the other side of the wall. I make a hole, and through that hole I see the other side. I see infinite expanse, limitless expanse. So that hole becomes the framework through which I am relating to that infinite dimension of existence. So if the whole is in the form of Kali, I say Kali is the ultimate reality. If that whole is in the form of Shiva, I say Shiva is that ultimate reality. If it is in the form of Hari, then I say Hari is the ultimate reality. So it is the hole which we have made in the wall of ego through which we are peeping. That becomes the framework to relate to that same infinite dimension, spiritual dimension of our existence. So that's why Sri Ramakrishna is saying that all the forms can lead you to that ultimate unitary experience, the ultimate spiritual experience. So that's why he's saying, never harbor malice toward anyone. Shiva, Kali and Hari are but different forms of that one. He is blessed indeed who has known all as one. The body does not endure without a trace of lust, anger and the like. You should try to reduce them to a minimum. So that's again this as long as the ego is there, the lust, anger, all the things are bound to continue. Why? From where that the ego, with the ego, why all this lust, anger are bound to continue? Because ego speaks of our delusion into this limited individuality. The conscious principle gets reflected in the body-mind complex, and that reflection, then I get identified with that reflection, and I take the reflection to be my real self. And that's how the ego develops. As we give that example, that the conscious principle have got even reflected in the microbe body. And that also develops that ego. How we understand? If in a petri dish, I am seeing through the microscope that all the microbes are moving randomly in different directions. Now I put a drop of nutrient in the center. I will find all the microbes have gathered a direction. They are moving towards it. If I put some toxin, they move away from it. Why it happens? The moment the ultimate conscious principle gets identified with the physical body, however small it may be, even a microbe, now it gets deluded that I am it. It forgets its real nature, that it is beyond all limitations. Something behind is constantly, because the self is limitless. It is eternal. It is ever fulfilled. So something behind is constantly saying that you are eternal. You are beyond all limits. You are ever fulfilled. But I find that this echo is as if not realized to the physical body with which I am identified. As we tell that ego is the echo of the self through the body-mind complex. That what it is like, suppose I am standing in front of a mountain and I shout out my own name, and I feel as if someone is calling me from the mountains. This is a delusion. It is just an ego. The same thing is happening. The self comes in association with the body-mind complex. The self is eternal. The self is beyond all needs, all wants. It is ever satisfied. It is as if saying, I am eternal. I am ever satisfied. And the ego comes from the body-mind complex. I am eternal. I am ever satisfied. And now it gets deluded. It finds the body is constantly degrading. The body has wants. It needs food to be satiated. It needs all the other amenities for its satisfaction. So he says, how can I be this ever fulfilled? How can I be eternal? I don't see. And then, but someone within is saying that you are eternal. So to respond to that, someone who is saying I am eternal, that we are in constant endeavor to realize the eternity in this material plane, which is never possible. The entire evolution has happened because of that ignorance. The microbe constantly is hearing that you are eternal, and it finds it's not eternal. A little change in stimuli kills it. But to realize the echo, the voice which is coming from within, what it does, it conglomerates with a few other cells, forms a complex living organism. There's a division of labor. Some of the cells will be taking care of respiration, some of digestion, some of circulation, some of the nervous activities, so that we can deal with the forces of nature in a better way, so that I can realize the voice which is coming within me that you are eternal through the material plane, which has happened due to the delusion. So as a human being, the most evolved being, you find that how nicely so many living cells have conglomerated to have evolved into this human body. Why? After all, we are constantly trying to realize the ultimate satisfaction in this material body plane. We are all trying to realize eternity in this material plane, which is never possible. As a human being, a time comes, that's the apex of the evolution. The evolution cannot be a straight line. A time comes when I realize that it is because of my delusion, because I took the ego to be real, that I am in this meaningless endeavor to realize eternity through this material body. There is no need. I am already eternal. As I am hearing the echo and taking the echo to be the real, so this false endeavor was going on. I am already eternal. Then this detachment comes. No more my association with the body-mind complex. Because the thing which I am endeavoring for, that I am already that. I am ever fulfilled, I am eternal. But as long as the ego is working, there is a constant endeavor to realize eternity in this body-mind complex. And from that what comes? Everything. This, our need for food, lust, because I know that if my body falls off, through the progeny, I continue to exist. That's the idea, that because of that delusion, this constant transmission of the life force through my generations, that endeavor goes on, and I try to evolve more and more so that I can cope up with the nature in a better way to realize that eternity. All this has happened. Why? Because of that ego. So as long as the ego is there, as long as my identification with this body-mind complex is there, I can never get rid of all these 6 enemies. This kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya. These are bound to exist. As we can never get rid of it. The only way we can get rid of them is to go beyond the ego, to get established in my own self. That's why Sri Ramakrishna is saying that the body does not endure without a trace of lust, anger and the like. Because as long as the ego is there, the body has to be sustained, and along with that, all this other, this shararipu, they constantly go on perturbing us, disturbing us. So but the falling off of the ego is the final stage. Before that, what we have to do? We should try to reduce them to a minimum. So, how to reduce them? So this This again we are telling Sri Ramakrishna words are like sutras. If you reflect on them, you will find the entire scripture is coming out of that. That how to reduce. There are two things. One is called Vyakta Vasana and another is called Avyakta Vasana. Manifested desires, unmanifested desires. There are many desires. All are not manifested at a time. So those which are manifested, that I have to try to reduce them, attenuate them with the help of willpower. I can't do that. Many say that willpower is of no avail. No, willpower. Our will can be made stronger. Just the way I can build my muscles. How I build my muscles? It is not that I think that if I go to the gym and work against the weight, my muscle is built. It is just the opposite. Actually, I am damaging the muscle. I am not building the muscle when I am forcing against the weight. Then how my muscle is built? It is because of a feedback mechanism. What's that? That when I am exercising, my muscle cells are getting ruptured. Now when again they start regenerating, there is the brain in each and every cell. The cell now gives the instruction. Don't replicate just the exact number as it was there before. Now this portion of the body is used. It is now it goes through a lot of exertion. So if you build the exact number of cells as it was, again it will rupture. It cannot take the stress. So build more. So actually exercise damages the muscle and the feedback mechanism of the body builds the muscle. So that's how the muscles are built. The same way willpower also can increase. How? You'll find that if I'm fasting for the first time, I will find it's a very interesting thing that I have taken a resolution to fast from the morning for 24 hours, the morning till the next day morning, or from morning till night. But as I am habituated of having my lunch, I will find in the afternoon, in the lunch time, I'm terribly hungry. What is this hunger? This hunger is the alarm system of the body. It is a biological alarm. The pangs of hunger is saying that it is time for taking food, take food. So in the form of these pangs of hunger, it is raising the alarm. If you somehow neglect it, don't give importance to it, very important that those who do fasting, we have seen in Belur Math when we used to fast during the Shivaratri, we find that yes, that during the lunchtime we do feel hungry. But if you somehow don't yield to it, continue with your fasting, it's not that you will feel the pangs of hunger throughout the night. After a few hours, 1-2 hours, these pangs of hunger falls off. Very interesting. Why? The alarm system gets tired. That there is no use in constantly alarming him to take food. He is not listening to it. The alarm system gets tired, it falls off. And now, without any pang of hunger, see, two things have happened. The body is light because you have not taken food. At the same time, that pangs of hunger is not there. So now you need your mind to be calm for your worship. So a wonderful calmness now comes. And you can continue. So that way you can delay your gratifications, and that's how the willpower increases. That I don't have to fight it constantly. To a certain extent I have to fight. After that the mind pacifies. The alarm system stops, it pacifies. So this is very much required to take control of the Vyakta Vasana, all the desires which are manifested. But there are so many desires, they never come up all at a time in my mind. As per the circumstances, some desire which I was not aware of, that may again pop up. Now how to deal with all these innumerable desires? I cannot just one by one go on controlling all of them. The Vyakta Vasana I control. Why? To calm down my mind. After calming down the mind, what is the way to get rid of all those unmanifested desires? Again, now I have to meditate constantly on the idea that I am the self. This meditation that I am the self, I am not the body, not the mind, not the senses. I am the infinite, this Atman. This meditation is like hammering on the ego. Ego, now there we have innumerable desires, both Vyakta and Avyakta, but all those desires are hooked to the ego. Whatever desires we have, you'll find it is all related to my ego. I like this, I like that, I don't like this, I hate this. Everything is related to this I, this petty small I. So if you are trying, that I is like the hub of a wheel, and all the desires are like the spikes. If I break one spike, other spikes will keep the wheel intact. But if I take out the hub of the wheel, the entire wheel will collapse. So what I have done, now to remove the hub of the wheel, I need that focused mind. Constantly I have to go on hammering it with the idea that I am the self, or I am the devotee of God. God is infinite, I am infinite, I am associated with the divine through eternal companionship. So this again is a negation of the idea of the limited individuality. So you're hammering this limited individuality. And for that, the calm mind is required. For calm mind, I have to take care of the Vyakta Vasana, the manifested desire. And then what happens with this calm mind when I'm meditating? At last, I am able to hammer off the hub of the will of my personality. And then all the desires, whether they are Vyakta or Avyakta, manifested or manifested, they all collapse because they are all hinged to the ego. When the ego is gone, everything has fallen off. So it's a gradual process. First take care of the manifested desire through your will by increasing the willpower. Calm down the mind. With a calm mind, meditate on your spiritual identity. With that, get rid of the ego. And once it's done, all the desires at a time collapses. So that's what Sri Ramakrishna is saying, that they are there. We have to reduce them to the minimum, but using our willpower, so that I can meditate. If I cannot reduce them, if the mind is always agitated with the Vyakta Vasana, how can I meditate to at last get rid of my ego? I cannot. So reduce them to the minimum by using your willpower, so that you can meditate. You can pursue your spiritual endeavors. You can continue with your spiritual endeavors with a calm mind. So that's why he's saying reduce them to the minimum. Looking at Kedar, the master said, he is very nice. He accepts both the absolute and the relative. He believes in Brahman, but he also accepts the gods and divine incarnations in human form. So that's what Sri Ramakrishna was speaking of, that you have to be Catholic in your spiritual journey, that you have to be very much focused in your Ishta, but know it for certain, other paths also can lead to the same goal. As per my temperament, I have chosen this, but others are also equally, the efficacy is as good as mine. As when I go to the restaurant, I order for the food as per my taste. Similarly, I choose as per my taste a spiritual ideal, but that doesn't mean the other ideals are of no use. So it's as per my taste, as that will make my spiritual journey smooth. That as I have a taste for certain thing, it makes the journey smooth. So that's why choose as per your taste, as per your temperament. But know it for certain, others have different nature, have different background. They have been brought up in a total different background, different condition. They may have a different taste. So for them, their ideal is as efficient as mine. Their efficacy is equal to mine meditative process. There is no difference in that. They all can take us to that ultimate spiritual goal. So what is required is intense yearning and sincerity. There is no as such hierarchy in the spiritual this in this all this economy of God, as Swami Vivekananda used to use this word. There's all these various religions. They all are equally good in the economy of God. Each and every have the same efficacy. as per your test, hold on to one ideal, and that will take you to that ultimate goal. So that's why Sri Ramakrishna is appreciating Kedar, that he is respectful to all, that the absolute as well as the divine with forms, he hates none. So that's the thing Sri Ramakrishna is appreciating. Looking at Nitya Gopal, the master said to the devotees, he is in a lofty mood. So Nitya Gopal was one of the devotees. He also used to go, he was of a very intense devotional temperament. Now and then he used to go into a state of bhava samadhi. So that's what Sri Ramakrishna is indicating. He is appreciating that, but very next moment he is warning him for certain thing. What's that? Don't go there too often. So he used to go to a place where there were a lot of lady devotees too, women. And Nitya Gopal was very young at that time. He was in his early 20s. So Sri Ramakrishna came to know that he visits certain place where a lot of women devotees are there. Sri Ramakrishna is saying, don't go there too often. You may go once in a while. She may be a devotee, but she is a woman too. Therefore, I warn you. This is the thing that Sri Ramakrishna just now told, that try to reduce your desires to the least. So what's the way? One is willpower and another is never come in association with the objects of desire. Because even unknowingly you may think I have a strong willpower, but if you're in association with the objects of desire, know it for certain, your willpower is not going to work. Why? Because if you, even in modern psychology, this is a very interesting thing, that we think that it is we who are the karta, the doer. I am the one who decide, but it's not the fact. The mind has innumerable mental modules, just we told that so many like spikes, these innumerable mental modules, and each of these mental modules have a fixed stimuli response conditioning. It's fixed. If I see donut, I start salivating. It's fixed. So, but very interesting, even in modern psychology, the same thing, as they say the same thing has been spoken of in the Yoga Sutra also. The concept of Nirvana Chitta, the same idea as mental modules. What they say, that our mind has innumerable mental modules. It's not one mind. At a moment, only one module gets activated. One mental module gets activated. And it has a fixed stimuli response conditioning. As per the stimuli response conditioning, it will respond to a situation in that particular way, making me feel that I have decided. I never decide actually. We are prone to just act as per the response. That's how the entire world of advertisement works. That you feel that, oh, I have decided to buy such and such thing. But the advertisement, what it did, it activated a particular mental module. As you were watching it, it activated, and you took that mental module has a fixed stimuli response conditioning. As per that response, by which it is fixed, it immediately responds, and you think, I have decided to do it. That's how the mind is constantly fooling us. So never be too confident about your mind. So among the innumerable mental modules, which module will get activated? There is no one deciding. The environment decides. Not you. The environment decides. So that's why Sri Ramakrishna is saying that as long as the ego, the hub called ego, has not been uprooted, once it is uprooted, all the desires will collapse once for all, never to come back again. But as long as the ego is there, be very cautious. Be very cautious about the environment where you are. Moment you are in an environment where a particular module is supposed to get activated, you will find you have almost no control. That gets activated and it takes the decision, making you feel you have taken the decision. There's a very nice thing, not only here. Another devotee of Sri Ramakrishna is Latu Maharaj, Swami Adbhutananda. So he was from a very poor family from Bihar. Being from a family who were all laborers, they were all farmers. So they used to work hard, and you know that in any country you will find those who really have to work hard, they do develop a tendency to resort to alcohol. Because after so much of exhaustion, they go back, and that gives them some relaxation for their body, for their mind. Any country will find. That's why we find a very nice joke that a Christian father was just going through the village and meeting the villagers, and he was asking them that what the do's and don'ts. Don't take alcohol. And then the farmer to whom the preacher said, the farmer said, "Oh Father, please come and lead my life, and then you give this instruction." So this is the thing, that when you are in that type of situation, they do. So as for the family tradition, they were all to a certain extent alcoholic. But this Latu Maharaj, as a young boy, came to Ramakrishna. He never got as such influenced by his own family. He was a very naive, innocent boy, very devoted to Sri Ramakrishna. And he at that time was staying with Ram Babu, another devotee of Ramakrishna. For him, he used to work, and Ram Babu will now and then send some things to Ramakrishna through Latu. Now, he used to walk. In those days, it was all walking. So from Ram Babu's place, Latu Maharaj will, at that time he was a young boy, he will take all the things sent by Ram Babu to Ramakrishna. And one day Ramakrishna asked him, "Which way do you come?" He told, of course, the shortest way. And Ramakrishna knew there was a liquor shop in that road. And Ramakrishna immediately told him, "Avoid that road." So just say that as he knew he was from a family who have that, the relatives were all to a certain extent alcoholic, he was not. So that thing was as if in his DNA. He may resort to alcohol. So the road on which the liquor shop is there, Sri Ramakrishna, don't go by that road. And as Latu Maharaj was extremely devoted to Sri Ramakrishna, he had to choose some other way. And that was almost twice the length of this road. But he was so devoted to Ramakrishna, he took this word literally, and every day he used to travel that longer route to go to Ramakrishna. So that's why Sri Ramakrishna, here also we find, is that he finds Nitya Gopal is very devoted. Where he is going, they are also devoted. But they are all, they're the one who is devoted is a woman. And Sri Ramakrishna finds that, yes, this can be quite harmful for him. And that's why he is warning him. You don't know. You don't be so confident. You don't know that in that environment that your module may get activated. So be very cautious. So two things, practicing of willpower and the environment. Both are very important. Try to keep yourself in an environment where you don't get lured by those things. And of course, even after that, the mind is there to still play pranks with you, though you are not in that environment. Because those mental modules always wants to be fed. Just like the way in the holidays, the grandchildren comes and they are all sitting around the granny and they all want to be pampered. It's the same way these mental modules which already are there wants to be pampered. So now and then they will be disturbing. But first stop the environment, and then with the help of this willpower try to reduce them. So this you will find in all this is Ramakrishna's words. The entire spiritual journey has been spoken of very simply. It's a science behind it. And he's simply relating in such a nice way, just minutely to the person exactly what he needs to do. He's just instructing the specific instructions that don't go there too often. You may go once in a while. She may be a devotee, but she is a woman too. Therefore, I warn you, This reminds me of a very nice Christian story, that a young novice monk, he was novice, he was quite devoted, and he was found that every day a lady devotee used to come and he used to converse with her for quite long. Seeing that, the senior monks, after a few days, warned him, you shouldn't be in association with that woman for such a long time. And then the young monk replied, she is a very ardent devotee. And then the senior monk told something very nice. He told, the rain is pure, the soil is clean, but when they mix together, they become mud. So that's the thing the monk told. So the rain when it is falling, it's pure water. And the soil, as long as it has not become mud, it's quite appears to be quite clean. But when these two mix up, they form mud. So that's the idea. Be very much aware of the environment in which you are. And otherwise, you don't know, unknowingly, the mental modules are there to create havoc. And that may bring a downfall in your spiritual journey. So the sannyasi must observe very strict discipline. He must not even look at the picture of a woman. So, because again the same thing, the environment will be activating the mental modules. So you have to keep yourself in such. And you may say, why it's not the real woman, it's the picture. Yes, as Sri Ramakrishna says, that the fake apple activates in my mind the idea of the real apple. If you want to really realize that, you have to come to our center, and we have a lot of toys for the children when they come here, just so that the parents can be involved with our activities. The children need not disturb them. So the toys are there with which they remain engaged. And there are all those toy apples, toy oranges, and all have been bitten by these children, thinking them to be real. There's all mark of the teeth there. So what it speaks of, that they do activate the mental module, though they are not real. So you have to be very, very, very cautious. He must not even look at the picture, what to speak of talking to. He should not even look at the picture. But this rule doesn't apply to householders. So now this Nitya Gopal was a young boy who was an aspirant, who was supposed to be a monk. He remained as a monk, though not of our order. But throughout his life, he had his own ashram, and he has spent the life as a monk. So Sri Ramakrishna knew his future. So he is giving him a very strict instruction. But at the same time, householder devotees are there. They may get discouraged that if spiritual journey is so tough, then for what's the use to try as a householder? So immediately he's just saying. So you have to take the background, otherwise we won't understand Sri Ramakrishna's instruction. Lot of householder devotees are sitting there. To Nitya Gopal, he gave that specific instruction, that be very, very cautious. Don't interact with women, don't even look at their pictures. But there are householder devotees. They will feel, for us, what's the way out? So immediately he's saying, but this rule doesn't apply for householders. Then are spiritual householders not supposed for this spiritual journey? No, it's actually for the householders. The scripture do speak of renunciation. What's that? That's renunciation in mind. Physically, it's not possible. In mind. How? By changing your paradigm. That the one with whom I am getting married is a veritable manifestation of Shakti. That Shiva and Shakti has created this universe. The conscious principle appears as energy. That's what. The entire universe is nothing but energy and energy alone. Everything can, even in science, they're trying to find that unified field. At last, everything in this universe can be resolved into four forces. Which we find in science. Everything at last can be resolved into only four forces. What are the four forces? Gravitational force, the strong nuclear force, the weak nuclear force, and the electromagnetic force. These are the four forces which with which anything can be resolved. Now science is in its endeavor to find out that unified field, that can all these four again resolve to one energy. That's what Vedanta says, that everything is manifestation of that Shakti, energy. And beyond the Shakti is the Shiva. The consciousness is appearing as Shakti, and that Shakti is again manifesting as this entire universe. So this world is nothing but the interplay of the Shiva and Shakti. And scriptures say that each and every woman has to be treated as the veritable manifestation of that Shakti. So if you have that paradigm, then what happens? The marriage becomes a spiritual journey. That with the help, what's the idea? The bride has to think that the groom is the manifestation of Shiva. He is as if the Lord Shiva. And the groom has to think the bride is the veritable manifestation of Shakti. Very interesting. In India, in all the Hindu marriage, when the ceremony is going on, the wedding ceremony is going on, you will find that in the hand of the groom, something sharp will be there. In the western provinces, in Rajasthan, UP, all those places, they keep sword. In Bengal, West Bengal, there is no sword, but they will keep something like this betel nut cutter, jati, they call it. That will be in the hand. What's the idea? Why at the time of wedding something sharp has to be in the hand of the groom? The idea is spiritual, that with the help of one with whom I am getting married, she is a veritable manifestation of Shakti. With her help, I am going to cut the bond of Maya. So that's why that sharp thing is this. So we sometimes don't know. We go through all those ceremonies without knowing. So what's the idea? That if you change your paradigm, don't you see her as the veritable manifestation of the Shakti, then gradually all your desires will be sublimated, and that your relations will become more and more spiritual, ultimately leading you to that spiritual emancipation. So this is the idea, that for a householder, they cannot renounce physically, but mentally, by changing the paradigm, gradually they are also going to the same goal. And that's what Sri Ramakrishna is indicating. Very nice. In our scriptures, somewhere we find is saying that wherever is a pure monastic traditions are there, they say Nari Narakasya Dharam, that the woman is door to hell. That's what they say. But in Tantra, it's just the opposite. They say that Nari Mukti Dwar, that the woman is the door to emancipation. And some Westerner came and asked one famous Tantra, the one who was a very evolved spiritual practitioner from the Tantric tradition, and asked that how come you have all these contradictory views? Some are saying that Nari is the Narakasya Dharam, is the way to hell, and again there is some who is saying that Nari is the Mukti Dwara, they take you to the emancipation, and that Tantra Sadhak gave a very nice reply. Well, mind you, they have spoken of as Dwara, as door. Through the door, you can go in, you can come out. How you use it. So that's the idea. So it's your paradigm. If you take this life as this avenue for bhoga, for enjoyment, it will take you, it will drag you gradually, spirally downwards to all sorts of negativities in life. At last you will find it has made a life very complex. All complexities come from there. But if you can again change your paradigm, and in that love, that respect, idea of respect is there. I respect the divinity which is in the core of each and every being, and try to relate to others with that idea of the divinity which is in each and every one. Then these relations will get sublimated, taking you to a more and more a spiritual evolution. And that's the idea which Sri Ramakrishna immediately says, because Nitya Gopal is made for sannyas, but the householder devotees are there. So immediately he says, this doesn't apply to you. But this rule doesn't apply to householders. For them, they are not, that it is not that spiritual journey is not for them. Spiritual journey is for them, but with a total different paradigm. So that's why he is immediately saying this rule doesn't apply to the householders. An aspirant should not associate with a woman even though she is very much devoted to God. A sannyasi, even though he has subdued his passions, should follow this discipline to set an example to the householders. So sannyasi is the Jagat Guru. His life is there to inspire others. That we say spiritual liberation is possible for all. For all. For householders, for monks, for everyone. Anyone can go to that spiritual, can evolve spiritually. Then if that is so, then why there should be monks, exclusive monks? So the idea is sometimes we give an example this way. So that in engineering there are so many branches. So many branches, civil, architecture, mechanical, chemical, so many branches are there. But in all the branches, and there is a separate branch called computer science also. Now in all the branches we find the application of computer science, we find. So why then computer science as a separate branch is there? That unless there is a more and more advancement in the computer science and as an exclusive branch, I cannot think of its application in other branches. So there should be a separate branch for computer science so that those who are devoted exclusively to that computer science can think of more and more advancement, and that will help all other branches to derive benefit from that. So similarly in spiritual life also, though spiritual realization is possible for all, there should be a few people, a class of people who are exclusively devoted to this spiritual journey alone, so that their spiritual realization can be the benefit for the entire humanity. You will find that's why in all the spiritual traditions, if you go to the source, they are all speaking of that exclusive renunciation. Even as a Hindu monk, can we in any way just find that if you look at the life of Jesus, can we in any way help us other than respecting him? Because he is the king of sannyasi, the tremendous renunciation. See the life of Buddha. In all the traditions you will find that when you go to the source, the one who is from whom the spiritual tradition has emanated, he is the source. He is a monk because he is the path, is a pathfinder. He is the one who is showing the path to all. He has found a path. So for that, all others are deriving the benefit from it. But some has to be there. As Swami Vivekananda used to say, that a few has to be there who has to sacrifice their life for the benefit of the entire humanity. So sannyasi is such a person who has sacrificed his life, exclusively sacrificed his life for the benefit of the entire humanity. So he should be a role model. So he has to do anything to its zenith, to the maximum level, so that the others can take him the ideal. So here Sri Ramakrishna is saying that's the meaning of the word acharya. Acharya means through your practice, by walking your talk, you lead the life in such a way, the ideal which you speak of, that you are following in your day-to-day life. Then only people will take that seriously. Otherwise, they will think, oh, that type of transgressions are okay. It's something serious. We find in another context Sri Ramakrishna's that story that the physician, a person came to a physician, he had some health issues, and the physician that day told, okay, your remedy, whatever prescription I have to give you, not today. You come after the next week, I will prescribe the do's and don'ts for you. I will just prescribe the diet, or if any medicine is required, I will give you. So after 1 week when he comes, Now, this physician says, don't take molasses. Molasses are very harmful for you. And the patient says, okay, and goes back. Now, someone who was with the physician was very much surprised. Just to give this instruction, don't have molasses, you could have told it in on the first meeting itself. Why you asked him to come back again? And this physician told, see, that day when this patient came to me, I had many jars of molasses in my room. Seeing that, the patient would have thought, though the doctor is asking me not to take molasses, it is not that harmful. Otherwise, why the doctor himself has kept so many jars of molasses? So it is not that harmful. So he would have never taken my word seriously. And that's why first I removed them. So now, after I removed them, I have called him, come after 1 week. So now he will take seriously. So that's the life of an Acharya. So unless, though he may be a very, a pure soul, whose all mental modules has fallen off, nothing can in any way distract him. So his association with the woman is in no way going to harm him because he has already evolved spiritually. But we see the world through our eyes. As Sri Ramakrishna used to say, if you eat radish, you belch the smell of radish and you think the entire world has the smell of radish. So now the others will, when you see the monk in association with the woman, they will belch what they eat and they will make a wrong impression of the Swami and of that monk, and as a result what will happen? He will be that spiritual aspirant will be harming himself. He won't take the life of that monk seriously. He will think, oh, he also compromises with the truth because he is belching what he is, that was seeing in. So that's why monk, though he is established, he has to be very cautious. He has to be very cautious so that, because his life is meant as a role model for others. So he has to be very cautious in his day-to-day dealings. That even if he has developed that self-control, still he has to be very much cautious about his day-to-day dealings with the world, so that others may in no way have some wrong understanding about his life and that way start compromising with their spiritual endeavor. So that's why Sri Ramakrishna is saying that an aspirant should, an aspirant should not associate with a woman even though she is very much devoted to God. A sannyasi, this next line is very important, even though he may have subdued his passions, should follow this discipline to set an example to householders. So for that, that he should just do that he should practice to the extreme so that the householders are inspired and take his example seriously and try to enunciate that ideal in their life, if not immediately but gradually through the process of sublimation. So that's what Sri Ramakrishna is indicating. Worldly people learn renunciation by seeing the complete renunciation of a monk. Otherwise, they sink more and more. A sannyasi is a world teacher, Jagadguru. So, if a sannyasi, that's why Sri Ramakrishna used to say, Ami 16 korle, tora 1 korbi. Means if I do anything 100%, then you will do 10%. So that's why I have to do 100%. I have to show you that the highest ideal that is possible, so that at least to a certain extent you start taking steps in the spiritual journey. So about 9 o'clock in the morning, the master was seated in his room with Rakhal, Aim and a few other devotees. It was the day of the new moon. As usual with him, on such days Sri Ramakrishna entered again and again into communion with the Divine Mother. He said to the devotees, God alone exists and all else is unreal. The Divine Mother has kept all deluded by her Maya. So this word Maya itself speaks of its meaning. Maya means Ma plus Ya. Ma in Sanskrit is used as a negation. Ya means Yatha Yatha. That whatever I am seeing, feeling in this world, I take these relations, my own relations, to be so real. But they're all, even if I just sit down and reflect, I will find that the things which I take to be so real are all flowing, are all passing, are all ephemeral. But somehow I never realize. In my mind, I take these to be the be-all and end-all my existence. So that's why it is called Maya. The so Lord has as if deluded us with this. We never see the thing as it is. We are always deluded. And that's the thing Sri Ramakrishna is saying. The next line, what he says, is important. A camel eats thorny shrubs and blood gushes from its mouth, still it will eat thorns. So that's the thing, as we were saying just now, that we see that life is ephemeral. People are dying, but we think, oh, I am going to live eternally. We may say, no, I never feel that way. I also know I will die. But our life shows, I may verbally say I know that I will die, but every day my life shows that I take this life to be as if something which I am going to be with it eternally. Our day-to-day life shows that. So that's what Sri Ramakrishna is saying, that we, like a camel never learns. It feeds on thorny bushes, it bleeds, but again it will take. That's what we go on doing the same thing, that we don't learn from our mistakes. So we go on doing the same thing again and again, and that's how we are deluded. And that's the idea of dharana, which has been spoken of in our scripture, that to learn from our mistakes, not to do it again. That's what dharana is. You know, the Brahmins repeat the Gayatri mantra. There they say, Dhiyo yo na prachodayatom, that, oh Lord, please increase my dhi shakti, dharana shakti, that I never go on doing the same mistake again and again. I learn from the experiences of life. As Swami Shardananda used to say, when someone asked him that what is life? What is life? In one line he gave a very nice answer, that life is nothing but a chain of experiences. What a wonderful answer. On after experiences we are having. And then the next question was, what is the aim of life? Again in one line he gave a wonderful answer, to learn from those experiences. We never learn. We go on doing the same mistake. And for to learn, we need that dhi shakti, that dharana should be there, so that we learn from the mistakes and not go on doing the same mistakes again and again. We don't repeat. And that alone can entail in our spiritual evolution. And that's what Sri Ramakrishna is indicating. This wonderful conversation goes on. We will continue with the remaining portion of the conversation again in the next class. With this, we stop our discussion today. Thank you all. Namaskar.